Welcome back. There is a grand plan of the Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry headed by the Cabinet Secretary the Cabinet Secretary, that is the Honorable Rebecca Miano. We sat down with her and here is that interview. Of course, you also get to know a bit about her and of course her journey through to becoming the Cabinet Secretary for Investments, Trade and Industry. Here is that interview.
Inspiration is like what is needed in life. It's what drives people. And I am inspired, but just the thought that I can make a difference in this country and that I can make a difference in people's lives. And the fact that God has placed me here, His Excellency has appointed me into this docket, it energizes me that I've been put in a place that I can make a difference. It also, one of the things that also motivates me is to see people who are determined, people who are just there to make a difference. And that to me is what I call excellence. So excellence is what inspires me. I was born in Nyandarua, in a place called Ndaragwa. And that's where my school started, intermediary, up to some time, mid-primary. My dad then took me to boarding school at class 4. Then I passed, went to secondary school in a school called Kapropita in Baringo, did my O-levels, passed very well, did my A-levels, I excelled, was admitted to the university, Nairobi University, where I did my law degree, finished, was admitted as an advocate, practiced a little bit, that didn't work too well. Then I went to corporate world. And when I got into corporate world, I think I found a calling for my career because I became a corporate lawyer throughout my career, climbed up the ladder, became legal director, company secretary, and in recent years, then I became a CEO in a big organization. From CEO, I was nominated to cabinet. Looking back at that journey, every step of it was a preparation for what I am today. It was not an easy life, a lowly family, a big family. I had 13 siblings, so we were 14. And you can imagine, at that time, such a family, there are no luxuries. But our parents were determined to ensure, even if it's a large family, each one of us at least goes to school. Even if you don't have any other thing, at least you go to school. And that determination from my parents motivated us to do our best. And that's why I am here. At every stage, my determination is to do the very best of what I am doing.
Secretary, so far you served in 2 dockets.
Yes.
Tell us how the switch was for you from corporate to government, and most importantly, what is the difference between that world and the world where you are?
Yes, thank you, John. Having served in corporate for a very long time, about 28 years, I had become a corporate guru. I had really specialized in corporate world. And then I joined government. My realization is that between corporate and government, there are a lot of similarities because the skills you require are the same skills. The qualifications you have are the same. People management requires the same skills, whether corporate or government. Strategic thinking, innovative thinking, excellence. And so as a person, the skills you have are applicable both for corporate and government. The difference is maybe the operating environment. In corporate, things are quite a lot structured. Calendars are fixed. Everybody knows their role and all that. But in government, and one of the things that really impressed me about government are the systems. especially the automated systems, the financial systems, HR systems, planning systems, are very solid. Some of them are even stronger than what corporates have. It's only that then government, the operating environment is much wider. You can't quite tell the boundaries. And you're dealing with a lot more people. It is a job that is a product of a political process. It's because you have a political process, elections, you have a president, then the next steps are formation of a cabinet. Whereas in corporate, it is a recruitment process to fill an organization structure. So that being the case, in cabinet, you need to have a very open mind. You need to do a lot more to ensure that your roles are clarified, and you've got to be a really service-centric person, and you interact more with people. You've got to learn a lot of politics because it's a political job. But luckily, the driving force, the North Star, is still the same for both worlds, both corporate and government. In my previous docket, East Africa Community, Arid and Semi-Arid Lands and Regional Development, I am proud of the milestones that we were able to achieve. In the East Africa docket, in deepening the integration, we were able to resolve quite a lot of non-trade barriers to enhance trade between our countries. We had various bilateral meetings. I do recall, while in that docket, I had the opportunity to visit most of the countries, meet ministers, to discuss any barriers to trade. So that is one of them. Secondly, I was able to participate and rally Kenyans to give their views, public participation for the proposed constitution of the East Africa Confederation. So the whole of May, we were there with a committee of experts, making sure that Kenya's voice is in there as we draft the constitution of East Africa Confederation. I was a good and active participant in the Council of Ministers. We passed many decisions. For example, the East African standards, the policies on standards. We did labor migration. We did something about unified insurance, so that if you're here today, you travel to another country in the East African region, and you have an insurance need or a medical need, you will be able to get the service in each of the East Africa countries. And we, as a Council of Ministers, I think we made quite good decisions. We were able to strengthen the Secretariat by recruiting some of the positions that were vacant, including deputies to the Secretary General. And then at a higher level, during that time that I was in the docket, I had the privilege of attending about 4 summits of heads of states. So arranging for this summit, articulating the issues, be it peace in the region, be it the approvals we needed. And so I was at that stage where I felt very well grounded in the East Africa Community docket. For ourselves, and that is quite memorable to me, I was appointed when we were in the middle of the worst drought that Kenya had experienced for 40 years. And together with the guidance from our principals, His Excellency, his deputy, we were able to put in strategies and action plans to cope with the situation, to assist communities that were vulnerable. We did relief distribution. But then towards the end of the drought, we also started discussing on resilience building measures, because droughts will never end. So it's how will we cope better, so that in event of another drought, we do not have communities suffer as much as we saw. We saw livestock being wiped out, lack of food. I had managed to have round tables with donor partners. We had one in Turkana, one in Garissa, discussing real issues, including resilience building in ourselves. So with development partners, we had come up with a strategy of how to help the communities. We had identified water as the biggest need in ourselves, and we had even innovative ideas of adopt a borehole. And I was going to go to the development partners and telling them, how many boreholes will you adopt? How many will the government match? And also the county government. I was glad to work closely with the county governments, especially for the ASALs, and I had the privilege of visiting most of them. And so I'm very proud of the milestones that we achieved in the ASALs. For regional development, one of the activities that was important, those regional development authorities were formed in the 1970s. Very old legislation, and we needed them to be in line with the new constitution, especially on devolution, so that their mandate is not overlapping with what counties were doing. We were in the middle, and even now it's still going on, public participation to have one omnibus bill that will govern the regional development authorities for them to undertake their mandates in a modern and legal way, be it governance issue, be they developmental issues, and that is still going on. And so I am very, very nostalgic and proud of the work that we were doing in that docket. And I really miss the professionals. We found many of them, they had worked in that docket for many years. They are specialized, they are doctors. The way they embraced me, I never lacked any information that I needed. And I was actually just looking forward to working in that docket for the long haul. Yes. I will start by saying I feel I'm settling in quite well. It's 2 months since the reshuffles. I've had opportunity to meet with my team, understand the mandate, remembering that trade is not new to me. Even in my previous engagement in energy, it was all about trade, it was about investment, and it was about industry. But now with an angle to energy. This other docket, East Africa Community, is just about trade, but within East Africa Community. Regional development is also about industry, investment, trade. So I had quite a bit of hand and touch in matters trade, industry, and investment. But now I've landed in the real home of investment, trade, and industry. I must say, it is a big docket. It is a critical docket. It is catalytic to the development of this country. I have embraced the goals and the priorities and the activities that we must undertake in order to deliver on the bottom-up transformation agenda. So the short of it is that I'm settling quite well, but it's a very, very busy docket.
Most recently, even before we talk about the opportunities that exist in terms of investment in Kenya, is the signing of that groundbreaking deal, EPA, the Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union. For every Kenyan watching from out there who doesn't understand or says what we talk about when we say this groundbreaking deal, explain to us what it means for the Republic of Kenya.
Let me start by saying that when you sign such an agreement, is that it's like just going to the supermarket, the way you go and pick your goods and pay for them. But because this is a wider and more sophisticated market, you then sign an economic partnership agreement with provisions of how your trade will go, because it's not as simple as you picking and paying. So this agreement, and it has been under negotiations for a long time, I think since 2012 or something like that. The discussions then were between EU and the whole of East Africa community, but along the line, some countries may not have been ready to progress to the level of signature and to the level of ratification. And then the heads of states in a summit meeting did resolve that countries can progress with the EPAs alone without the whole East Africa community, because it was taking longer and and more issues were arising. And at that time, Kenya, graduating to a lower middle income country, we needed to progress discussions with other partners. And so Kenya continued, picked it up from there, finished with the negotiations. And earlier this year in May, the negotiations were concluded. So there was tidying up, and on Monday, a historic moment, we signed the economic partnership agreement between Kenya and the EU. This partnership agreement heralds a very unique opportunity for Kenya. It provides an immediate access of Kenyan goods to the EU market, the 27 countries. And over time, as we proceed, EU goods will also gain access to Kenyan market, but that is a little in future. The immediate is for Kenyan goods to get the market duty-free and quota-free. So what does that mean for the country? It does mean that we must place ourselves in a position where we'll be able to have our markets go to the European market, be it agriculture, be it all the other products that we can produce in Kenya. And the beauty and the importance of it, it proposes that we do value addition here in Kenya, and then just export finished goods to the European markets. It is an opportunity for our farmers, small, medium enterprises, our industries to position themselves to take up the markets that will come forth. The next steps, when Parliament is back from recess, we'll take the agreement for ratification, and we are working a roadmap. We shall be disseminating the information to have everybody identify which opportunities will be available for them, and we'll be ready to go for implementation. I look forward, as the lead implementer of the EPA, to making sure that we implement it in such a way that we then rejuvenate our market, rejuvenate our economy. The counties, through the county aggregation and industrial parks, must seize this opportunity, and all Kenyans must seize this opportunity. On the sidelines or part of the COP, there was an event, an African event, and Kenya was a significant player, and we had the launch of Africa Green Industrialization Initiative. And basically, Kenya was the lead, and other countries participated. We had more than 6-7 heads of state who participated in that forum. In the forum, Kenya was able to announce, or had an opportunity to announce, some of the deals that we are working on. We announced an agreement for green energy at Menengai, a geothermal project, and then we have a tech agriculture project with United Green, and we also did, I think, a green data center between Konza and EcoCloud and a few others that we announced. We have a unique opportunity in Africa and also Kenya. We have green energy. We are good on carbon credits. Africa is the carbon basin of the world, and we must take advantage of getting green financing and green deals, and that will spur industrialization and the economy, not only of Kenya but of Africa. And so it was a momentous forum, and the participation was quite good. And African countries are now preparing themselves to lead the green industrialization initiative. Yeah. And this will create jobs. It will create markets for green goods. It will spur industrialization and attract even foreign investments into Kenya and into Africa. Yeah.
From Dubai, you accompanied the president to India. India, of course, for many Kenyans, it has a sentimental attachment owing to the number of Kenyans really flocking India to seek for treatment for cancer and other illnesses. But when it comes to the volume of trade or even investments that we're seeking from India, what is the picture like? What are we looking for? What are we looking at?
We had bilateral meetings with the government of Kenya, of course, from the presidency and the Prime Minister. We also had a Kenya-India Business Forum. Right now, the balance of trade is largely in favor of India. Yet, there are many products that Kenya has that are needed in Kenya. Right? There is good uptake of avocado, there is good uptake of other products, but that visit was an opportunity to deepen our relationships. We had a discussion, and there was a facility that was negotiated with India Exim Bank, and that will help even in terms of agricultural mechanization, in terms of agricultural just processing, and that is going on well. I was glad that His Excellency was able to conclude a $250 million facility with Indian Exim Bank. 100 million of that will go towards the county aggregation and industrial parks to make sure they have the mechanization they need, they have the equipment that is needed, and that so that is one. But a lot of interest that we saw in India and the medical field, telemedicine, pharmaceuticals, digital medicine, and a lot of businesses expressed interest, and that is also going on well. Green energy, we had great discussions. We had also discussions in e-mobility and almost any other field, including agriculture. I can tell you the appetite for Kenya that I saw in India gives me a lot of hope that the future will be much, much better. It's for Kenya to produce because the market is there, and then we have issues of trade, we discuss them, market access, and we'll be good to go. Number one, foreign direct investments. We must attract foreign direct investments into Kenya. Over the last few years, that has been dwindling to a low of even 500 million only by the end of 2021, down from an up of up to $20 billion in foreign investments. And so that will be a major focus. What we have done, we have mapped out which countries we will be reaching for foreign direct investments. And so we have a book, activities we require, so we'll hit the ground running in that regard to go looking for foreign direct investments. We will get jobs in that. We will increase our foreign currency. There will be more inflows. We'll build our economy. Number 2 is to increase exports. I have a target that Kenya should increase exports into other countries by 30% by 2025. And so all these activities that we are doing, signing the EPAs, discussion with the EU, discussion with other countries, the trade relations, is just to ensure that we can increase our exports. And for us to increase our exports, there is a nexus that we must produce enough for our local market, because there is no need of increasing exports and also increasing imports. We must reduce imports and increase exports. The counties, the aggregation centers, the value chains we are working on, the value addition is all in support of increasing exports. And you know the benefits of increasing exports? Just like the FDIs, you get more foreign exchange, you get more jobs, you spur your development and your economy. We have quite a number of activities in that regard for export. We must strengthen port operations, our processes, business climate. So that's the second one. The third one is just increasing manufacturing. Our manufacturing to GDP is not optimum. It is quite low. We must increase the percentage of manufacturing to GDP to 20% by 2030, what we are calling 20 by 30. So for you to increase manufacturing is to address the business environment in Kenya. Just last week, during the cabinet meeting, there was approval for me to lead a team, a task force, to work on business reforms. For a long time, Kenya has been concentrating on ease of doing business, and we've done quite well. We rank very well, up to number 56 globally, and Sub-Saharan Africa, country number 3 in ease of doing business. Feedback shows that now we need not to look at ease of doing business, but the cost of doing business. So the assignment I have is then to lead this team that will come up with business reforms, action plan, in a bid to sort out the cost of doing business in support of manufacturing, local manufacturing and local industry. So John, if we achieve those things, we are widening our economy, rejuvenating it, putting more money in the pockets of our people, getting enough foreign currency, getting enough jobs, and you can imagine the impact of that. 2024 is a few days down the line. I think we have like less than 10 days to 2024. But we must take this festive season as a reflection so that we rejuvenate, finish strong, and start 2024 with the fire of the three goals that we are focusing on. I will tell them that it is possible. It is possible, opportunities are there, but the real work is for us and for the girl to prepare and equip themselves to get the necessary skills, the necessary qualifications, the necessary focus and qualities. Because when you get all those, they know no gender. If you're good at what you do, if you have the education, if you have the skills, if you have determination, if you're motivated, those things do not know any gender. And therefore, the girl there, the girl out there, the lady out there, it is good to know that it is all open for us. It is for us to equip ourselves to seize the opportunities and to have the confidence to go for it. But when you go for it, you must remain very good at what you do. Because if you don't remain very good at what you do, then people remember your gender. They actually remember that's a lady, that's a girl, that's a woman. But when you're so good at what you do, it matters no more. And so I encourage the girl watching out there, do your best. Have the confidence, have the competence, and believe in yourself. Yes. I was that girl that you're asking what I could tell. I was that girl. It also challenges me that it is not enough to tell that girl the message without me evolving as the role model. A good role model that the girl will look at and say, what she has said, she has actually lived it. And this is a living example of what it can be. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Fazil, and happy holidays.
Thank you, and have a Merry Christmas and a very blessed and bountiful 2024. We look forward to a blessed 2024. And with the things I've told you that we are focusing on, we put our eyes on the goal, our hands on the deck, there will be no reason whatsoever that 2024 will not be a better year. It will definitely be, and we carry the lessons of 2023 to deliver a better 2024. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's why we put a cap on the interview. We were talking to the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, the Honorable Rebecca Miano. The lessons of 2023
And of course, that brings to an end the interview with the CS Rebecca Miano. You will notice that she wishes you Merry Christmas. Of course, this was part of our ongoing end year series. We're already into 2024. But of course, the greater plan for the ministry is obviously looking at new grounds in the green energy, some of the investments that you can pursue there. But most importantly, the cost of doing business is part of the key priorities of the Cabinet Secretary. But for those who seek inspiration from her, confidence, competence, and believing in yourself are her mantra. This is how we put a cap on Prime Edition. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Have yourself a good night. Lucy Maura was the sign language interpreter.